We've heard that a woman's right to make the most intimate and important and often compelling and problematic decisions about her life, her reproductive life, are not in danger in New York State. Well, they weren't in danger in Texas long ago, and they weren't in danger in Kansas, and they weren't in danger in Missouri, and they weren't in danger in all those other states that espouse and have adopted the philosophy that we have heard from every member of this House who has risen to speak against this bill. Roe versus Wade can very easily be overturned by a Supreme Court which has many members which are dedicated to overturning Roe versus Wade. In New York State, we have our own Constitution that predates the federal Constitution, and in fact, the federal Constitution, to large measure, is modeled on our Constitution. That gives us, in certain cases, superior rights to the federal Constitution. Hopefully, we will never, ever have to litigate this. But if we ever do have to litigate this, I would rather be on the side of Deborah Glick, and that's for sure, even though she's not a lawyer. Now, I am a lawyer, but I don't think that this debate has anything to do with whether one is a lawyer or not. But it sure does seem to have a whole lot to do with the hypothetical, with conjecture, with surmise. So the sponsor, for whom I have the greatest of respect, and I are from the same generation. And I remember the way the world was without too much trouble. And I'll share this with you. I did not grow up, as some of you know, in New York. I grew up in a more remote part of the nation. The first girl who I knew, who I grew up with, who got pregnant, was pregnant in either 6th or 7th grade at a time when I had no idea how babies were made. And I could almost guarantee you, and this is not a funny story. There's nothing funny about this at all. I can almost guarantee you she didn't know how babies were made either. This was the world the way it was. Children being forced to have children. Young women being butchered in back alleys. We have heard some language today. Oh, and that was, by the way, not the world of conjecture, surmise, or the hypothetical. We have heard some who have spoken use language to this effect: infanticide. That this is an easy decision for women to make. That doctors will do this for money. Abortion allowance in New York State. We've also heard one member speak about isolating African-American women. This isn't demeaning. This is repulsive. And if that philosophy ever rules in this country, we will see human rights and women's rights diminished. And that's why we need this bill in New York State. Finally, we have heard some members speak about the love they have for their children, and I don't doubt it. I have children also. One of my children was born following a problem pregnancy, and it was a problem birth as well. And I ended up in the neonatal intensive care unit with that child. I love my children every bit as much, I'll guarantee you, if not more, than any other member who has spoken about their children. I will not allow my children, my son or my daughter, to live in the days that the sponsor and I so well remember. So, this is a serious issue. It is crucially serious. It is extraordinarily important that this bill be passed in this House and that this bill become the law of the state of New York. Finally, as the grandson of a suffragist, Deborah, I would only have to tell you, I'm sure my grandmother would be very proud of me for voting for this. She'd be proud of you as well. Thank you.